Imagine a world where your medical treatment is tailored to your unique biology, where AI can predict a disease before it even happens, and where scientists are actually building brand new medicines completely from scratch. It sounds like science fiction, right? Well, according to leading researchers, this future is a lot closer than you might think. Today, we're going to explore the huge breakthroughs predicted for 2026 that are really set to redefine our health.
All right, let's jump in. Here's our roadmap. We'll kick things off with the big picture of innovation. Then we'll see how artificial intelligence is finally getting real. From there, we'll dive into how medicine is becoming incredibly personal. Take a look at the mind-blowing science of building biology from the ground up, and then we'll pull it all together to see what this new era of medicine really looks like.
So, the last few years have really tested our health systems in ways we've never seen before. But what's interesting is that experts are saying those pressures are actually becoming a catalyst for change. They're predicting that 2026 is going to be a truly pivotal year, one that sparks a whole new wave of creativity and really bold solutions all across medicine.
And this quote just captures that optimistic feeling perfectly. The focus isn't just on bouncing back, it's about using everything we've learned to push for these huge, transformative discoveries, the kind that have a real, lasting impact on everyone's health. So what does this new wave of innovation actually look like on the ground? Well, one of the biggest shifts is happening with artificial intelligence. For years, we've been hearing about the promise of AI in medicine. Well, in 2026, the conversation is finally shifting from that promise to actual practical use in the clinic.
To really get this shift, it helps to understand something called the Gartner Hype Cycle. It's a great model for new tech. Basically, things start with a ton of buzz. That's the peak of inflated expectations. Then comes the crash, when people get disillusioned. But after that, the technology starts to find its real sustainable value. And that's the slope of enlightenment.
Now, this is what's really fascinating. The prediction is that AI is about to get a much-needed reality check. A lot of the overhyped tools probably won't make the cut. But this is actually a good thing, a healthy thing. It's going to clear out the noise and let the truly trustworthy, clinically proven AI systems finally hit the ground running.
Okay, so what can this more mature, enlightened AI actually do for us? Well, one of its incredible new missions is to map human tissue in unbelievable detail. It can reveal how different cells interact with each other in what scientists are calling cellular neighborhoods. And by doing this, we can start to unlock hidden patterns that define the difference between health and disease. And this ability to see things on such a tiny, detailed level, well, it brings us to one of the central themes for 2026, this huge shift away from one-size-fits-all medicine and a move towards treatments that are specifically tailored to you, the individual. And this idea of personalization isn't just some abstract concept. We're actually seeing it pop up across a bunch of really critical fields, like neurology, the science of aging, cancer treatment, and of course, heart health.
In neurology, for example, personalization means we can use cellular models that actually reflect a person's unique genetic code. This lets researchers test new drugs and therapies on a system that acts just like the patient, which makes treatments way safer and a whole lot more effective.
The science of aging is also getting a complete overhaul. So instead of just, watching what happens as we get older, scientists in 2026 will be actively testing things to see if they can actually reverse the biological signs of aging. We're talking about turning back the clock at a cellular level using markers called epigenetic clocks. It's pretty amazing stuff.
This same idea carries over into cancer treatment. The goal here is to finally understand the deep biological connections between getting older and getting cancer. If we can figure out why age is such a massive risk factor, we can start to tailor treatments much more effectively, no matter if a patient is younger or older.
And I think this quote just illustrates the point brilliantly. We're moving beyond generic risk calculators for heart health. Especially for women, this means we can start including really important factors like their reproductive history and menopause to paint a much more precise and personal picture of their cardiovascular risk.
So what's making all this possible? It's a revolution in data. By layering together clinical history, environmental factors, and molecular data, doctors can finally create this complete, high-definition picture of a person's health. And that lets them guide us towards strategies for a longer and healthier life.
All right. Let's switch gears to one of the most futuristic predictions for 2026. This is where science stops just observing biology and starts actually engineering it to solve totally new problems. Now this is a huge concept. We are talking about creating brand new proteins and enzymes, the fundamental building blocks of biology, with functions that have never ever existed in nature before. These are custom-built biological machines designed to do very specific jobs.
So how in the world does this work? Well, it's basically a three-step process. First, scientists find a problem that nature just hasn't figured out how to solve. Then, using some incredibly powerful software, they design and build a new protein from scratch to tackle that specific problem. The potential here is just vast. We're talking breakthroughs not just in medicine, but in things like sustainable energy and creating new materials.
So when you take all these individual pieces and put them together, the smarter AI, the deep personalization, and this incredible new power to engineer biology, a really clear picture of a new medical era starts to form.
So if there's one key thing to take away from this look into 2026, it's this. These powerful trends are not happening in isolation. They are all coming together, converging to create a future where our healthcare is more predictive, more precise, and more deeply personalized than we ever thought possible. This is the new era of medicine, and it's just around the corner.